Good morning, everyone. Christine here. It's April the 27th, 2023. Today, I want to talk about a subject that we don't often talk about, and just how it affects all this violence and what we're seeing down in Lower Town is actually affecting our children and our young people with what they're witnessing and seeing. And I'd like to start off with just how quickly things can escalate and happen. I'm going to go back to last year, in June of last year, 2022, just after the restrictions of the pandemic were lifted and we were allowed to come out of our homes. And it was an exciting time for my grandchildren. This is particularly on my grandchildren at the moment, because one of my grandchildren was having his birthday party. And he was all excited because with all the lockdowns and that, the children had not been able to get together and have their big birthday parties that they were used to. And we were concerned too because of the mental health and what the mental health people are saying about how this has affected our children. So my son-in-law and my daughter dropped over. We were outside our building, just standing there beside the van, and we were just simply planning a birthday party. And all of a sudden, while my son-in-law is standing there, he's smoking a cigarette. This gentleman suddenly approaches us, asking for a cigarette, which we normally see. Most people just hand it out, but my son-in-law was basically on his last one before he was going to go back to the store and buy more cigarettes. And he politely told him, "Look, I don't have any smokes right now to give you." And my daughter and I sort of turned away just for a moment. Then we heard a yell behind us, my son-in-law yelling, "What do you think you're doing?" And "Don't grab me." And we turned, and then we almost had a fist fight because apparently the man was so desperate for a cigarette. And it's not just desperate for the off-the-street drugs. This is how addictions affect everyone. But he tried to grab my son, and then my son-in-law, and then he was able to get him away from the van. And then he had no sooner got him away from the van when he walked around the other side of the van. And the next thing we know, we heard two girls screaming, and they started running down the street. I don't know what happened there. We couldn't see through the van at the time. But they took off. And no sooner we got back to talking again, when all of a sudden we see crime on the run in a full. Literally, we thought we were in part of a movie at one point, because this black man was running past the van as fast as he could down the street, and hot on his heels behind him was one of our more athletic young police officers in shorts, running after him as fast as he could. And this is just like literally, we were just witnessing crime on the run. And behind the police officer, we had 3 police cars pull around one corner. 2 bicycle police officers up at the same corner. They took off in one direction while the cars took off in the other direction, looked up the street where both of them had been running ahead of us, and there was 3 more police cars tearing up off the street. And we're just standing there in total shock. And I just looked at my daughter-in-law, my daughter, my son-in-law, and I said, "Well, I don't really have to watch TV or cop programs. All I have to do is just look out my window and the action's right there." And so they're thinking now, and it's been coming for a while, where they've been scared to bring the children down in the area. They used to let them run on the lawn beside my building, but that is getting scary right now. And now if they have to come down, they want to keep the children in the van for their own safety. And I don't want to be able to, like, I used to go out places with my children and my grandchildren and do things with them. They used to come over to my place. I have a bookshelf full of children's books that I used to read to them, and some toys, and I used to play with them to give mom and dad a break. And especially when they have 5 children, it's nice to have grandma come in and give them a break. But even I'm afraid to bring them down into this area. It is so volatile, and things can happen quickly. And those 3 incidents happened within a 5-minute span. That's how fast it happened. And we were just so shocked. And it's constant down here. The sirens are constant, especially in the summertime. Most of them seem to be stopping at the Shepherds and not going on by. And if they do go on by, with everybody walking all over Lower Town, there's incidents all over Lower Town that the residents are all upset about. And I'm not the only one that's concerned as a grandmother. I've been talking to other people that are certainly concerned about the children who are living in the area, the daycares that are in the area here, picking up the needles around the daycares. I know I've talked to other aunts and uncles who are afraid to even have their nieces and nephews come down because some of them have actually witnessed some incidences. So it's a very, very scary situation down here. And it just seems like I know some of our politicians are trying to actually come forward and step up and see if they can do something. But it's all the different wards that, well, if it's not in my ward, it doesn't affect me. And my constituents don't want it here. Well, it's a matter of not wanting or wanting it. It's a matter of we have to do what's right. And a lot of these people that I'm seeing don't even want to be here that are in the shelter. They're the mentally ill that don't want to be involved in it. There's other people who are like, you've heard of Brian. He doesn't want to be around it. He'd rather have drop-in centers or something somewhere else, even out of the ward, so that they can get out of the ward and stay away from it. So why can they not step up in your ward or talk to your politicians from your ward and see if you could do something to get the people who do not want to be who are in unfortunate homeless circumstances, that do not want to be in this violence that's down here, until we can actually start doing something and hopefully clamp down on the drug problem that's down here. So I would appreciate it if you could talk to your politicians. I'm sure in the sake of humanity, I'm sure we all have feelings. We all care about people. If we don't, there's something wrong, because what I'm seeing with the violence, we're desensitizing our children to the violence that they're seeing, not only on TV and the games and stuff that we're seeing with the high-tech stuff. This keeps happening. And, in school, we have the bullies in school, and then they don't understand if you crack down on the bullies in school, why, when they're adults, they have to come out of school and they still have to put up with the bullies. So there's a lot of things we really need to start working on together as human beings, because I cannot imagine a human being not being a human being without caring. But then again, I pick up my phone and I see the websites and I see all the cruelty done to animals as well. And it just makes me wonder what has happened to the human being today. Are we human, or are we part robots? Because it seems like we're becoming so decentral to things that are happening around us that we just don't care anymore. It can't be. This is not the way I grew up in Ottawa. Everybody cared about everybody else. But this is one of the things that I just wanted to bring up to people's attention, that people are actually scared to bring children down into the area too. So it's not just the adults that are being affected. The children are being affected. And we need to step up and do something, so that everyone can come down and enjoy the market area here. It is a beautiful, beautiful place to be when it's running properly, when the storekeepers welcome everyone in. Even being a dog owner, I walk and, oh my goodness, welcome mat for the dogs. The service dogs are welcomed in the restaurants. The bowls of water are out for the dogs. It could be such a wonderful place. So I don't want to take too long today, but I would really appreciate it if people would stop and think, and maybe just put a little line into your politician and just tell them just how upset you are that it just doesn't seem to be that we care, because we talk to the politicians and or the city, oh, well, we've got enough drop-in centers. We don't need this. We don't need that. We've already got it. I realize that their city is paying for quite a bit here, but I think we really need to look and revamp everything if we have to. Rethink everything out and doing things in a better way so that everyone can enjoy life rather than being in fear. So I really appreciate, again, my audience is talking to me, and we'll talk to you again soon. And thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.